Hi there, this is Chocolat from Chocolat Films, and welcome to part 26 of my Claude Chabrol season. Today I'm going to talk about Merci pour le Chocolat from the year 2000, or Nightcap, and this stars Isabelle Huppert, Jacques Dutronc, Anna Mowgli and Rodolphe Pauly. I'm going to start by attempting to explain the setup of the film. I emphasise the word attempt, so hopefully you'll be able to follow this. So we open up with a wedding of Huppert and Jacques Dutronc, who's a singer, composer and part-time actor. And this is the second time they've been married. Dutronc has a son, Guillaume, from his previous marriage, and his first wife, who was friends with Isabelle Huppert, died in a car accident that may or may not have been suicide. Okay, so we've got that first part. Then it cuts to two women in a restaurant waiting for their children to arrive. So the first woman has a son who is working in the forensic lab of the second woman who runs the forensic lab, and she has a daughter. So the son and the daughter are both boyfriend and girlfriend, and the mother of the boyfriend looks in the paper and sees the picture of the newly married couple and says, oh, there's the famous pianist getting married again. Was he not involved in that mix-up at the clinic? And the daughter asks the mother, what mix-up at the clinic? So when the mother gave birth to the daughter, the famous pianist, he came to see his son, but because the clinic had ran out of name tags and because their surnames both started with the same letters, they accidentally showed the pianist the baby girl instead of the baby son. Okay, so you're still with me? So then that creates doubt in the daughter because she's training to be a pianist and seems to be a natural pianist, because obviously learning the piano runs in the family. So that sets up her wanting to know whether or not the pianist is really her father, even though her mother, you know, just says it was just a mix-up and they just showed the wrong baby to the wrong couple. So that's the setup, and I hope I've kind of explained that. So again, this is a Chabrol film. I'm not going to go into spoilers because it's complicated enough. So that's the setup, and then the daughter Jean goes to Isabelle Huppert and Dutronc because she wants to find out whether she is actually his daughter, and he's like, I don't have a daughter, I have a son, Guillaume, who at first is a bit jealous of this girl appearing, claiming to be his father's daughter. But she has an exam, so she has to learn this piece of music, so he takes her under his wing to give her lessons and bring her into the family. to learn this piece of piano. Obviously Letronk is a musician, so he can play the piano on screen. So there's lots of great classical music, but there's the key piece is a funeral march by Liszt, I believe. I could be wrong. Which they practice, and then later on in the film becomes just a wonderful emphasizer to what's actually going on. So that's a rather convoluted setup. The film is about, as Chabrol says, it's about evil, but not in the moustache twirling serial killer kind of sense of evil. It's more about evil being the absence of good. So the girl Jean who comes into the family, the piano student, she is a little suspicious of Hooper, and the reason it's called Merci pour le Chocolat because Hooper makes this chocolate, or hot chocolate essentially, that the family have. The husband has Rohypnol on prescription to help him sleep. So the girl is suspicious that Isabelle Huppert gave the first wife, who she did love and was friends with, the Rohypnol to get her out of the way. Isabelle Huppert, because she has married this guy who happens to be an heir to the Muller chocolate empire. So Isabelle Huppert now becomes the CEO of the chocolate empire. There's a side plot about an older executive member who doesn't really like the decisions she's making, and there's almost like an unfinished thread where she's gonna go and see him, and she tells people he's become a pain, so you automatically think, oh yeah, she's gonna bump him off with her chocolat, but again that never happens. So again, there's not a lot of, it's not like other Chabrol films where there's murder and there's violence. Everything is implied. Again, I'm not going to go into spoilers. You're going to have to watch the film yourself. There are, at times Isabelle Huppert sits on the couch and she seems to be knitting like a big web almost. So it's kind of, the clue is kind of in there. Again, I do feel like I'm repeating myself when I'm doing these Chabrol videos. It's a slow burn. That's kind of Chabrol's trademark. So the first half of the film, you are kind of working out, as you can tell by this setup, exactly what is going on. There's a wonderful scene at breakfast with the daughter's mother and the daughter, when the mother just drops another kind of revelation into the conversation, which is wonderfully done. Huppert, who at this point has become as much of a muse to Chabrol as Stéphane Dran was in the late 60s, early 70s. She gives another magnificent performance. This DVD with Artificial Eye is part of the Chabrol Volume 1, along with Betty and Inspector Laberdeen. And this one, these extras they vary on the releases. This one is a making of documentary, which is very insightful indeed, an Isabelle Huppert interview, which is excellent, and an Anna Mugler screen test. So the extras in this one are really interesting. You get to see Chabrol, who has a wonderful sense of humour, as you may or may not know. He's always kind of pulling people's legs, but he definitely kind of knows what he wants, even in the scenes with the piano playing. He kind of jumps on kind of notes and things like that. As Huppert says, he does have a great knowledge of music. Obviously his son has done the music for lots of Chabrol films, because he's a composer in his own right. But again, there's a lot of classical music in this film. So it's a really classy, subtle, quietly devastating little film. Hooper is magnificent, as always. But again, it's kind of quintessential Chabrol in the sense it's not showy. It's not like, look at me, I'm a director. He just lets things very much. It's a film where you feel like you're almost being slow poisoned. You're almost being slowly put to sleep by sedatives or poison. It's just wonderfully done, and the choice of shots that he does, or one shot that he does at the end of the film as the credits roll, is just absolutely spectacular, and it's one of the greatest things in Chabrol's career. His choice for the kind of last couple of shots as the credits roll, it's just beautifully done, and Hooper is marvellous. So if you're looking for a Chabrol film with, you know, lots of pyrotechnics and lots of twists and turns, this isn't one of those films. But if you're looking for a classic Chabrol slow burn, I mean, if you look at Chabrol films as a whole, his films are generally about identity, secrets, lies. You know, the great thing about this film is the motivations for Hooper's character are not clear. You know, there's conversations about it, but it's not, you know, this is not a study of, like I said earlier, moustache twirling villainy. That's not what this film is about. It's more psychological than that. It's harder to put your finger on than that. There's no easy answers in the film, or easy motivations in the film. So thanks very much for watching part 26. We are getting there. We're up to the year 2000. Hard to believe we started this journey back in the late 50s with Le Beau Serge. But please let me know if you've seen Merci pour le Chocolat or Nightcap, and hopefully you'll join me for part 27 of Chabrol. So thanks so much for watching. This is Solitary Ronin Films saying be very suspicious when people offer you a drink of hot chocolate, and hopefully I'll see you again.